Hi there. So I'm not quite sure where to start with this thought, but I'm on my way to let go of something that I don't necessarily want to. But I'm listening to these Michael Singer books and courses, right? Living from a place of surrender. And they're talking a lot about your higher self, but also I guess the idea is one of the many ideas is that this stuff that makes you unhappy and keeps you in a bad place isn't you, and you don't have to be like that. You don't have to live that way. I had this in my head. How exactly do I want to say this? There are things. Admission to Millions. We did these breakthrough things, right? Breakthrough activities or whatever they were. And it was, the first night was like a thing of wood, right? I can't remember breaking the thing. They put a little pin in it and we had to slam our hand down on the pin, and then they picked up the wood and we had to break the wood, right? And everybody was ready for everybody's like, okay, yeah, we've seen the breaking the wood thing, sure. But then when they put the pin there, with the needle size, to put the pin part down, the end of the pin is at the top, right? It's not like the sharp part was up, but so the sharp part was down, and we had to slam our hand right on top of it, and it had to go quickly, otherwise you would hurt yourself. And then you broke the board. That's the word I was looking for. Then you broke the board, and it was like, oh my God, like, okay. And then the next night, being able to get past that needle thing, and I just waited and I watched people, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be okay. And then the next day we walked across some glass and broke an arrow with our throats, which was the scary part, right? Walking across the glass, we'd all kind of seen, you know what I mean? Like, not that I was like, oh, I really want to do that. It was a little scary, but we've seen it. We've seen people do that. And, but then he said, what we're going to do once you get past the glass, we're going to take this arrow, and it had a blunt tip. It's not like it was a pointed tip. Blunt tip right in the middle of the soft part of your throat, and it was a long dowel, right? Nothing fancy. So they, you put it right there in the soft part of your throat, and they held, like Doug McGurk, I got McGurked, held it, and I had to walk into it. And you have to walk into it strong, and it will snap. I walked into it, and I thought I was going strong, but I didn't. It didn't break, and it hurt, and I was like, I jumped back, and I was like, what are you doing to me? Other people had done it already. I'd seen them do it, but I was like, oh my God, this isn't gonna break. This hurts you know what I mean? So it was like, no, you try it again. And I was like, okay. And there's just something about Doug that makes you trust him. It's very weird. So I put it back in my throat, and I pushed forward, and it hurt, but it was like, no, okay. And then I saw it bend. And I knew that when I saw it bend, I knew that I could do it. Oh, all this stuff, guys. All this stuff is coming up and being part of my life now, which is great, but also oh, this hurts. So I snapped the arrow, and then the next day, we put fire in our mouths. And that was scary enough. He didn't have to do anything to make that a little scarier. It was I'm going to put fire in my mouth. And I did it. And I did it really, compared to how I had been feeling about the other things, I did it really well. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to be scared. And I was like, okay. And just before we... just before I did it, I said out loud, I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I can tell myself I can do this. This sucks. So I said to myself, I said out loud, like, all right, we're doing this. I'm doing this. And I took the fire and I put my head back. You know, there's a specific way you have to do it, so don't just try it at home. And I took a deep breath. I was like, here we go. And I put it in my mouth and I put it out, and that was it. And I did it. And it was just like this crazy, I mean, the throat thing was this crazy, just like break, release, dam of like flood for me. Like I just started crying. And the feeling after putting the fire in my mouth was kind of a feeling of elation. Like, I can't believe I just did, like, I didn't even command my body to do it. I knew what I was gonna do, and I just told my body to do it. So I did but I mean, like, I didn't feel like I chose the actions. I just told myself to do it, and I did it. And I was actually really super surprised at the end when I had the freaking thing in my mouth. So, you know, and what that was intended to teach you, and, you know, you think, oh, whatever, you know, you go and you do this and it doesn't really have anything to do with real life, but it does. One of the things that Doug told me, told me, you know, I was saying the next day with the arrow thing, I was saying, you know, oh, this is how it shows up. You know, this is my life. I do something and I try, and I think I'm trying hard enough, and it doesn't happen, and it hurts, and I stop. And I don't think it's possible. And this is how it shows up, right? Like, it shows up here. It shows up, you know, like, this is how it shows up. And he looks at me and he goes, this is where it shows up. And it just becomes this, like, incredible parallel for life, because there's this book, I think it's a book, I'm not sure. I know it's a quote. How you do anything is how you do everything. And the more you become aware of this, the more you realize it's, like, so right. How you do anything is how you do everything. And it goes with these breakthrough sessions, right? So I'm listening to Michael Singer. I'm listening to Living from a Place of Surrender right now. And he's talking about, you know, how we have emotional blockages that we've stored from experiences we've had in the past, mainly bad ones. I'm sure we hold on to some good ones, but we try and push the bad experiences away, because we try and push the feelings that we have from the bad experiences away. And ironically, that means we hold on to them. We keep them in our bodies, in our hearts. And when something comes in that reminds us of that, it stirs that all up again. So then it becomes not just the thing that's bothering you in front of you, but it also becomes all the stuff that you stored that's kind of like that thing. And that comes up, right? And the only way to get this sucks. The only way to get through it is to feel it. Right? It's not even to get through it. It's like, okay, you feel the emotion come up, you tense, and you recognize that that's what you're doing. You recognize that this is what's happening. So you take a deep breath and you relax, and you just allow it to be. You don't push it away. You relax and allow it to be. And it hurts, and it's not fun. But when you do it, the more you do it, the lighter you become, because these blockages release. And that stored energy you had inside from, like, whatever your father did, whatever whatever your mother did, whatever the thing that happened in the schoolyard and blah, 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 you let those things go because of what's happening in the moment. Because of what's happening in the moment is touching that, and that's when you can release it, right? So you allow yourself to feel it, and you release it, and it becomes something beautiful, not something like, you know, the stuff that you hold on to. and you feel for like your whole life, and you hold on to it, and you feel it your whole life. It's not a good feeling. Connection. I hope this is still going. But okay, sorry, that just totally threw me off. I just totally lost it. But anyway, you're feeling these things, and they're touching the things inside, and it's not a good feeling, right? The feeling that you had, the feeling that I get, let's just go, right? It's not a you, it's not a general. I can only speak for myself, right? I can't speak for anybody else, because I don't know what anybody else's experience of life is like. I only know what mine is. So it's not a good feeling. You know, it's an angry feeling, and it's a feeling that you hold on to, and you go back to it because at some point it's comfortable in a weird way. And it doesn't feel good, and there's nothing beautiful about it. It drags you down. So I'm learning that when these feelings come up, because something happens in my life that stirs them up, that I just have to relax and let myself feel whatever that is feeling, whatever that feeling is. And you know, he talks about it in the book. He's like, you know, it can be at a traffic light, someone cuts you off, and you get really angry, and you start tensing up, and then you realize, like, this is stupid. Why am I getting angry about this person? Like, I have no control over anything outside of myself. Right? Like, that's another big point of the books, but I'm not talking about that right now. Like, you know, if you're in traffic, someone makes you really angry, you can stop and relax and allow it to be. And he was talking about this person who did that, and then came back to him and was like, you know, this weird thing happened. I was in traffic, and I felt this feeling of anger, and I really just this vitriol. And I remember what you said, and I took a deep breath, and I relaxed, and I just allowed it to flow. And like within a few minutes, I was like sobbing. And he's like, well, yeah, of course, because you're allowing that energy to flow through you now. Those are the emotions that you need. You know, that it touched something, and now you can release it. And it's so obviously it's not about the car in front of you. It's not about the thing in front of you. It's about what you're holding on to. And in order to get rid of that, if you're tired of it, if you're tired of holding on to that, in order to get rid of it, you have to go through it. And you have to be brave enough to allow yourself to go through it. And those experiences I was just talking about at the Missions to Millions thing that I went to, these breakthrough sessions, showed me, you know, that there is something on the other side. Like, you don't have to be, like, the fear you think, the fear you're feeling, because you fear it, you kind of know, you feel in your bones that this is going to hurt you, and you do it anyway, and it doesn't. You know, like the next day we were at Universal Studios, and we went on this roller coaster, and it was like different from other roller coasters. Like, it, you know, right, you're going up, and then you kind of expect to kind of go over the edge and then go down, and let the gravity take you down, and that's where you get the momentum, right? Not on this roller coaster. This roller coaster, you go up, you'll go up, and then all of a sudden, just when you think you're gonna start going down, it just shoots you, like you've never even, you're like, it just completely takes you. And I had this moment of terror, like, just like, holy shit, like, get me off this, like, get me, I want to leave, I want to get off. And then, you know, immediately you're like, I can't get off. Like, that's just a ridiculous thing to say. So I have to just sit here. I mean, this all happens within a millisecond, right? So I have to just sit here and allow this to happen. Like, I have no control. Literally, there's nothing I can do right now. I am strapped into this machine, and it is taking me where it's going to take me. And I was able within like a millisecond, or maybe not a millisecond, maybe like a second, like to release that and let it go and just have like an amazing time. It was so much fun, right? And that just keeps coming up, you know what I mean? That just keeps showing me that that's what life is like. And so when I am faced with doing something I don't want to do because I know it's going to hurt me and it scares me, it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Because even if it does hurt or scare me, that doesn't mean it's going to hurt me permanently. I can open up and I can allow myself to feel. And one of the things Michael Singer talks about in this course, Living from a Place of Surrender, is that the negative feelings, the feelings that you don't like, the feelings that you try and push away, that you don't want, are beautiful, because this is what your specific, you personally, this is what your experience of life is like, and no one else has this experience. And then he goes into this whole, there's like lectures before this point, the point that he makes, that just kind of build up into this, but no one has this experience, and this is your experience, and whether or not you like it doesn't matter. This is what you have, you know, and you're this consciousness aware of what you're feeling, you're aware of what's going on, and that makes you different from a lot of other animals. I mean, we don't know all of them, right, because we can't actually be in their heads, or to what degree, you know, but we are this consciousness trapped in this attached to this animal's body, right? And this is our experience of life, and it's up to us whether or not, it's up to me. This is my experience of life, and it's up to me whether or not I hold on to something and I make